In today's class, we will try to focus upon how the pointer is related to a structure, how we can make use of pointer and access the structure members. And if time permits, we will start with the relationship between a pointer and a functions, how we can make use of the pointers in accessing the functions as well as the parameters of a particular function. Okay, now let's get started with the first one, pointers and a structure. Now we all know that structure is what? Again, a structure is a group of elements, but the difference is compared to array is that the structure can store the different data types elements as its particular part. Now, if you just try to compare the array and structure, you get only one difference, is that a structure can have different variables of different data types. Okay, now can anyone tell me how we define or declare a structure in C programming? Can
First,
anyone?
we declare the struct template.
Yes, we declare using the struct keyword. Okay, now let us first declare the structure, and then using that particular structure, we will declare a pointer in to store the address of that structure and then access the data members. Okay, it's a very simple program. Okay, along with the program, I will explain the concept here. Struct is the keyword to declare a particular structure. Let's say I want to declare a structure for a student data. Okay, struct students, or let me call it to be just a student, and a pair of traces. And do you think that there will be a semicolon here or no semicolon at the end of the structure?
Semicolon, sir.
Yes, semicolon. It ends with a semicolon. Now we can define the members of this structure, right? Say a student has a particular name, they will definitely have a name, so have a character array for that. Say character array char name, and let's have a size of 20 for it. Then students will also have a roll number, and the data type of the roll number is going to be an integer, say RNO. And let's have one more member to store their percentage, the result of the students, right? Since it's a percentage, right? This percentage may have a floating point numbers, so declare it to be a float, call it to be a PER. So we have a student structure consisting of three different members: the name, RNO, and PER. These are called as the members of the structure. Okay, now we know that if we want to make use of the structure in the program, first we need to declare them and then declare a variable of the structure type. Okay, we need to declare a variable of the structure type. So to define a variable of the structure type, again we need to make use of the keyword struct, right? Struct followed by name of the structure. What is the name of structure in this case? It is student. Then the name of the variable. So I can define it to be a yes here. Now it is like yes is a structure variable of the type student. Yes is a structure variable of the type student. What is student? Student is a structure. What it has? It has three members. It has three members in it. Okay. Now, how do we access the members of the structure? If I want to access the members, that is a name I want to access, then how can I access it? Can anyone recall that you have studied in your first semester? I want to assign certain roll number, then how can I do that? Forgotten students? We make use of a operator, dot operator. Remember, we make use of the dot operator. Dot operator is a binary operator, right? Means left hand side, right hand side, we get two operands. Left hand side is the name of this variable, that is yes, then dot. Right hand side is the member of that particular structure, say RNO. So the RNO member can be accessed using the dot operator with respect to the variable yes. Do you remember anything?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If I want to access the percentage, then how can I access?
S dot percentage, sir.
S dot percentage. Suppose if I have one more variable, structure variable, say S2, then how can I access the name of S2?
S2 dot name.
S2 dot name, right? So we make use of a dot operator in order to access the structure members, okay? Because we need to know this concept, because if we make use of the pointers, then also we are going to use the dot operator itself. Okay, now we have declared a particular structure variable. We have declared a structure variable. Now what we want to do, we want to store the address of this particular structure variable in a pointer. We want to store address of this particular structure variable in a pointer. Means we need to again declare a pointer here. Now what could be the data type of this particular pointer? What it will be? I want a pointer here. That pointer should store address of this particular yes. Then tell me what should be the data type of that particular pointer? Should it be a type of integer or a float or a character, or it should be a type of a student structure?
So type of a student structure.
It should be a type of a student structure. Why it should be a type of a student structure?
Sir, it consists of combination of all data types.
Yes, it consists of
Heterogeneous.
combination of all the data types, right? The basics, again, the basics. If there is a variable and we want to assign that particular address of that variable to a pointer, then the pointer data type and the variable data type should be same, right? That's what I am keep on telling you in all the classes. The variables data type and the pointers data type should be same. Now here we have a variable. What is the data type of the variable? It is struct student. And if I want a pointer now, right, which can store address of this, then I should also require the pointer of the same data type, struct student. Call it to be a star PTR. What we want to do? We want to assign the address of yes variable. We want to assign address of yes variable. Is it similar to this convention? Is it similar like this? Int n, then int star ptr or a star p equal to address of n. Are these two set of statements, are they similar?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right?
Yes, sir.
If you are following the basics, then it is pretty simple to understand. In this case, the variable n is an integer data type, and if we want a pointer to store address of n, we have to declare a pointer of the same data type, that is an integer, right? In the same way, we have an structure variable s. What is its data type? Struct student. It is struct student, and we want a pointer to store address of that particular variable. Then this pointer should be also of the same data type, struct student. Okay, now how I will write this code is that I'm going to read certain information, that is name, roll number and percentage, and then display those name, roll number and percentage. Okay, so I will just try to do in two different methods. Reading part, that is input operations, I will make use of the structure variable, and output operation, that is printing part, I will make use of the pointer variable, so that both the concepts are covered here. Input operations will be done by using the structure variable, whereas the output operations will be done by the pointer of that particular structure. Okay, now let us write certain printf statement. Printf, say enter student name. Okay, enter student name. And after that, I want to read the name of the student. So I can write a scanf statement, right? In the scanf statement, I want to read the name. Then what is the format specifier for this character array name?
Percentages.
Percentage, yes. Then comma. What shall I write here? And yes dot name. Next, the same way I want to read the other details as well. Say printf enter student roll number. Okay, then read it again. Scanf percentage d as it is an integer ampersand again yes dot rno. Correct? Then next statement will be what? Printf enter student percentage, then read the percentage also using the scanf statement, and format specifier this time will be what? Percentage f, then ampersand yes dot per. Now the input operations are performed using the variable yes, but now the output operations I'm going to perform not using the variable yes, but by using the pointer which stores the address of this particular yes. Okay, now let's write one more printf statement. Printf, say a slash n, I will begin with couple of slash n's. Student details are, then we will display the values, that is name, roll number and per. Now pay attention here. Printf, okay, now name we will display. Name equals to, again percentage yes is the format specifier, and then here we need to write something, that is we want to access, pay attention, we want to access the name using the pointer. But pointer is what? Name of the pointer is what? PTR. What this PTR stores? PTR is storing the address of that particular variable yes. Now I want to print, or I want to access the name of that. That means I want to access it as star PTR, whatever the address, this particular address is pointing to, that particular value I want to access it. So does it goes in the same convention of the normal pointer? Value pointed by that particular pointer, PTR, dot name will indicate that the corresponding member of that particular structure. PTR, students go on mute. What PTR stores? PTR stores the address of yes, right? Now star PTR means what? Means value located at that particular address. Now there are three different values. What are those? We have a name, we have a roll number, we have a percentage. Among these three, I want to access a name, so dot name. So this will give me the value of a particular name member from the student structure. The same way, I can access the other details as well. Say roll number. I want to access the roll number. Roll number equals to, format specifier would be what? Percentage D in this case, because it is an integer value, right? Then now can you tell me what I can write here? If I want to access the roll number using the pointer, what is the notation I should write now?
Asterisk PTR dot RNO.
Asterisk PTR dot RNO. Very good. Now what will happen again? PTR, what it stores? Address of the structure, that is yes. So value at that particular address. Now it encounters three things, which one you want to access, right? Then we can specify the corresponding member by providing a dot operator. So dot RNO. The same way, the last value also we can access. Printf, say percentage equal to percentage f this time and a slash n, and it goes again in the same way, that is star ptr dot per. Understood, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us compile the code and check for any errors if there are any. Okay, that is fine, the warning is fine. Enter student name, then enter roll number, enter percentage, we get the details here. Now if you look into the code, these three statements are written. Okay, we are accessing the members of the structure by using the structure variable, but whereas we are printing those values or the members by using the pointer, which stores the address of that particular structure variable. Understood? Any doubts, students, here?
No, sir.
Okay, now one more concept I want to tell you here. The structure members can be accessed using the pointer, that is by writing star ptr. There is another option. There is another convention. The convention is like this. If I don't want to use the star, I can use a special operator, which is called as, you can look at here, a hyphen and then greater than symbol. Does it seems to be a arrow mark, kind of a arrow mark, right? So this is called as, this particular operator is called as pointing to operator. It is called as pointing to operator. Using the pointing to operator also we can access the members, provided that this left hand side, that is the first operand of this operator, should be a pointer. Right hand side should be a corresponding member. These are the two different methods. Okay, let me compile and show you the execution also. Okay, execute, then number, then a percentage. You can see the percentage is being retrieved, okay, by using the pointing to operator. So that means the pointers can be used to access the members of the structure, okay, in two different methods. The first method is using the star, that is asterisk operator, asterisk name of the pointer dot name of the member of the corresponding structure. Or we can make use of the pointing to operator as well. Okay, but now since there are two methods, which one you can write in the exam, right? You can make use of the first convention, that is using the asterisk convention. If you get a question related to the structure, you can just write in this way. Okay, and this is just as an additional information for you. Okay, understood, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, if the question for you for the point of examination, suppose if the question is write the syntax of structure to access structure members, write the syntax for the pointer, declaration of the pointer, which should access the structure member, then how you write? It should be asterisk ptr dot member, where ptr is a pointer to a given structure variable and member is a member of given structure. So this will give you the marks. This is the syntax for accessing a member by using a pointer. Okay. Followed, students? The next concept is pointer and functions. In the pointer and functions, we have three different sub-concepts. The first one is passing pointer as parameter to a function. Second concept is returning a pointer from a function. And third is pointer to a function. So pointer and functions, the relation between the pointer and the functions, we are going to cover three different concepts. The first one is passing pointer as parameter to a function, returning a pointer from the function, and a pointer to a function. Let us focus upon the first part. Okay, now let me open the program for that and explain to you. Now let us try to write a simple program wherein we want to create a particular function, user defined function. Here function means we are focusing upon the user defined function, right? So first we need to write its prototype or the function declaration. Okay, I believe students that you know the concept of functions, that is user defined functions. Okay, if you are not able to recall, I will just try to quickly recollect or reglance through all the concept of a user defined functions in this simple program. Okay, now the first part is that we need to define the prototype or the function declaration. The prototype or the function declaration has four parts. First one is return type. Second is name of the function. So here I will write the name of the function as a swap, and the parameters. The parameters consist of number of parameters. That is the list we need to mention here. So the first parameter is an integer and second parameter is also an integer. Fourth part is the semicolon. So it treats as it is a function prototype or function declaration. Okay. Now, the second part and third part I will explain as and when we write the remaining statements. Now here I want to write a function to swap two values of a particular variable. So I am taking the two variables in the main function, and a and b are those, and both have the 10 and 20 values respectively. Okay, now what I will do before swapping, or before I swap the functions, I want to print the values of a and b. So let me write the corresponding statement. Say a slash n I will begin with. Before swapping, I want to print the values. Okay, before swapping, print f a equals to %d slash n, and I want to print the value of a. Then same way I want to do for b as well. Print f b equals to %d slash n, and then b. So these three statements will print before swapping the value of a and a value of a b. And then I need to call the user defined function. So user defined function, since I want to call, so I need to look upon its function prototype. It is not returning anything. That means I no need to write anything before the name of the function. So I can just write a swap. Then The parameters, since it is taking two parameters and both are of the type integer, so I need to pass two parameters here of the integer data type. So first one is a and second one is a b and a semicolon. Once this particular function is called, once this particular statement is executed, okay, it will call or it will invoke the user defined function. This particular statement, we call it as function call statement. We call it as function call statement. Okay. Once this is called, what is this going to do? It is going to call the user defined functions, right? That is definition of function, which is the third part. So in the definition of the function, we will actually write the code related to that user defined function. Again, it should follow the same convention of what this particular function prototype has. Function prototype means what? The return type, since it is a void, so again it should have a void. Name of the function should be same as a swap, and it should take two parameters or two arguments, right, of the integer data type. So int, let me call it as x and int y. Okay, and then corresponding definition or the body of the function I need to write here. Okay, now simple statements I'm going to use where I want to swap the values of x and y. First, I will take one temporary variable int temp. Okay, then temp is equals to x. Then next, what can be the statement? Can anyone tell me? I want to swap the values. Temp is equals to x. Then x is equals to y.
Y.
Then
Temp is equals to X.
no, it should be y is equals to temp. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what will happen now? The values of x and y, whatever we have received, that is 10 and 20, will get swapped now. It will get swapped. So once this particular function definition execution gets completed, the flow of execution will go back to where it has been called. So it will come back to the line number 14 here in this case, right? So again, here we need to continue with the next statements. Now here what I will do, the conversion is happened, that is the swapping of the numbers is happened. Now I want to print the values. Okay, I will just make use of these statements and write it here. Only thing is that after swapping, and the last statement is return 0. Okay, all good. So we have written the code here, which will a user defined function which will swap the values of two variables. Okay, now let us compile the program and see whether are there any errors. There are no errors. Let's execute. Okay, now we got this particular value. What it says, before swapping, a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20. After swapping, a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20. Now what has happened here? Before and after swapping, we are getting the same values itself. It is not getting swapped. Is this particular program behaving as correct, or is there any problem? Who can tell me? Is it behaving as expected, that the before and after, why it is coming the same values? Why not it is swapping the values?
Sir, because in the function definition of function, the return value means the return statement is not there.
Return statement is not there. Okay. Now, can you help me in writing the return statement?
Return x comma y.
Return x comma y. Okay. Now, since it is returning, help me in understanding. Since it is returning, will this particular return type of the function, will it remain as a void or it has to be changed?
So changed.
It should be changed. Then what it should be changed as?
Integer.
Integer. Okay, fine. Now, since it is returning, now tell me how many values we can return from a user defined function. In this statement, as we said x comma y. So x comma y, is it possible for us to return values from a user defined function? It is not possible. The return statement can only return a single value. We can't return multiple values. That is the behavior of the return statement. If I write so, then it will give me an error. It will give me an error, right? Since I made it as integer here, so I have to make it integer here as well, right? Let us give a try and check the errors here. Okay. Now look at the code, line number 28. Left hand operand of comma expression has no effect. It is giving me a warning here. So what happens here? What it says, this left hand side of the comma, right, expression has no effect. So what happens? Will these both x and y will get returned? If I compile, compilation was giving me a warning, and if I still go ahead and execute, what I get the values as a as 10, b as 20, before and as well as after. It is not returning the values. Now, I think you have studied a simple concept as a basic concept in the previous semester. Okay, that is pass by value and pass by reference. Have you studied it? Pass by value and pass by reference. Did you study in your first semester? Okay, if not, it is pretty simple. Okay, now at least you must have studied the scope of the operators, local variables. Yes or
Yes,
no,
sir.
students? Right? Scope of
Yes, sir.
variables you have studied. Scope of variables means scope in the sense in which particular region the variables are active, means the life of the variable, is it still there? If it is yes, then whether is it that particular variable is accessible or not. Okay, now scope of this a and b means this a and b are what? Are the local variables. Local with respect to what? The main function. Anywhere in this particular body of this particular main function, a and b can be accessed. After we declare, we can access it. Okay, now a is 10, b is 20. So both are having a as 10 and b as 20 here. Okay, now let me quickly try to show you with respect to the diagrammatic representation here. Okay, let me write it here itself. Now, assume that there is a memory for main function. There is a memory for main function. In that particular memory, there is a variable, there is a b variable. Okay, assume that a variable's address is 1001 and assume that b variables is 1003. And this particular place we have a 20 value and here we have a 10 and 20 values. Okay, this is name of the variable, this is memory location, this is the value stored at that particular memory location. Okay, now this thing happen when we execute this particular line, first line. Now before swapping, it will get printed. We are just accessing the values a and b. So what it is going to do, it is going to print here 10 and here it will be printed as 20. Okay, then we call the user defined function here. We are calling the user defined function. That means what will happen? There will be another memory for swap. For this particular swap, okay, if you look into the function header here, this is the function header. In there, we are accepting two parameters of integer data types. And the variable names are what? X and Y. That means what? With respect to swap, there is the X whose memory address is, call it as 2001, and it has 10 because we are passing 10 from the main function. And it also has a second variable y. It has a 2003 memory block and what it stores at 20. Understood so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
now once the control reaches to user defined function, what are we trying to do? We are trying to swap the numbers. Say here in the line number 24, we declare one more variable. That means with respect to swap, there is one more variable by the name temp. Say that it is 2005. It is 2005. Okay, now what's happening now? The corresponding statements, these three statements will get executed. We know the working of this one. Once this particular execution gets completed, X will be 20 and Y will be 10, right? X will be 20 and Y will be 10. Yes or no? Once these three statements get executed, X and Y's value will get interchanged. So X now will get 20 and Y now we will get 10. These 20 and 10, pay attention, these 20 and 10 are happening or getting updated with respect to which memory blocks? 2001 and 2003. Okay, now once this statement is executed, it completes the execution of this particular user defined function and the control will come back to line number 14. So line number 14, what happens? After swapping, A equals to B equals to. Now, what is this A and B? What these two are? These two are the memories which are related to the main function. What is the value of A? 10. What about B? 20. So 10 and 20 will get displayed. That's why when we executed this program, before and after, we are getting the same values of the A and B before as well as the after this user defined function is called. Because changes made to the parameters, that is formal parameters, that is these two changes made to the formal parameters are not affecting the actual parameters. Okay, now what has happened before and after the swapping, the function, this particular function is called, we are getting the same values. That is because, okay, of the a concept what we have studied in our first semester, that is pass by values. So pass by values means what? Now the function call statement is this one. Function call statement, we have two parameters. Students, please go on mute.
Hello. Happy wedding anniversary.
Okay. Now we have a swap function. In the swap function, we are passing certain parameters. These parameters, right? These parameters are called as, let me write it here. These parameters A and B are called as actual parameters, are called as actual parameters. Okay. Now, once we pass these parameters, will be received by whom? Will be received by the user defined function, right? So here, this X and Y, we call them as formal parameters. We call them as formal parameters. Okay. Now, the concept is, or the behaviors, what is happening here? Let me write it here. Changes made to the formal parameters are not affecting to the actual parameters. Did it happen here? Whatever changes we did here to the X and Y, those changes are reflecting in the actual parameters. Are they reflecting in A and B? We changed the values of X and Y. It was initially, before we started here, X and Y were what? It was 10 and 20. But at the end of this statement, the X was 20 and Y was 10. It got changed with respect to only the formal parameters, but these changes did not update the actual parameters. And this concept, we call it as pass by value. Pass by value means we are at the time of when we call the function, we are just passing the values of the actual parameters. I am passing the value of A. What is the value of A? 10. I am passing the value of B, that is 20. 10 and 20 are being passed. So what happened there? A separate memory block is created for the swap function. X was allocated to some memory block and it stored 10 initially, and then 20 was stored to the y variable. And we had another temporary variable, and with those three statements we could able to swap the values, and we perform that 20 and 10 to x and y. But these changes are only within the x and y. Okay, within the formal parameters, this did not get affected to the actual parameters. Okay, now we have a type of a problem here. Problem in the sense what? Now we wanted to modify certain values to the actual parameters, but it is not happening. The constraint here, as one of your friends said, that we are not returning the values. If we return so, what may happen? We can return only one value. We can't return more than one values, because as per the concept of a return statement, it is possible to return only one value. But here we have more than one values. In such cases, then there comes the another concept called as pass by pointers. Pass by pointers. Sometimes it is also called as pass by reference. Pass by reference. Wherein what happens is that the changes made to the formal parameters do change or do affect the actual parameters. Means whatever changes we perform to the formal parameters will get reflected in the actual parameters, and that can be achieved by passing not the pass by value, but rather by passing the pointers. Pointers means what? The address of those variables. Okay, now see here how I'm going to modify the code here. Okay, now I will comment this for your understanding. Okay, now I will write a function void, okay, swap. Now I want to pass two arguments here, or two parameters. And what should be the type? It should be of the pointer type. Pointer type means what? Int star x, that is int asterisk, comma int asterisk. So function prototype here says that, okay, swap is the function. What it takes? It takes two parameters. What is the type of the parameter? It is a integer pointer. Look at here, int asterisk. Asterisk specifies that it is not a simple variable, rather it is a pointer. It is a pointer. Okay, then followed by that, we need to also write the corresponding function call. So function call, if you look at the statement here, we are passing the pointers. Pointers, what pointer contains? Please try to answer. What pointer contains?
Address of A and B.
Address of the variables. Now we want to pass what? We want to pass the address of variables. Means we don't want to write a swap A comma B, right? We want to pass address of A and address of B. That means swap address of A and address of B. Okay, now address of A I am passing. Is it meeting with the whatever the prototype we have written? See, this is the address of A. So addresses can be stored where? Addresses can be stored in a pointer. Yes, the whatever the parameters we have defined as part of the declaration of the pointer or the function holds good here. Okay, then next we will come to the its definition. Okay, I will comment all these lines for understanding. Okay, I'm going to write it once again. Okay, now void swap, right? Now I need to receive two parameters here. Now can you tell me what should be the parameters? What is the type of the parameters here? What are those? Let me take this below so that it is better visible to you. Okay, now this is the function call statement. This is function call statement. What are the parameters we are passing? We are passing the addresses. Who can store addresses?
Pointers.
Pointers means the parameters here, the formal parameters now should be of the type pointer. And this pointer should be to which particular variable type? It should be of the type integer itself. So int star say p1 and int asterisk p2 and the corresponding body will. Now look at the header of this particular definition. We have two formal parameters, that is p1 and p2. What are the type of this p1 and p2? These are not simple variables, but these are pointers. What this particular p1 is storing? It is storing address of A. What this particular p2 is storing? It is storing address of B. Okay, now let us understand these things with respect to its memory locations. Okay, now, so with respect to main, what we have now? We have a whose memory address is 1001. It contains 10. And B variable we have, its address is 1003 and it contains 20. Okay, now we are making a function call in this particular statement, line number 17. What are we passing? We are passing the address of A and address of B. Look at here. We are passing the addresses. We are not passing the values. Okay. So once we pass them, it will come to the user defined function. Since those are addresses, we need a pointers to store them. So what will happen in the memory block? So for the swap function, we have one pointer. Okay, we have a pointer. One second. We have a pointer and say pointer location is 2001. Now tell me what this particular pointer contains. What it contains now?
Address of variable A.
Address of variable A. What is the address of variable A? It is 1001. And in the same way, the P2, when it is declared, its memory address is 2003, this assumption. And now the content of P2 will be what? The address of variable B. Address of variable B is what? 1003. So 1003 is now stored into P2. Understood now so far what has happened in the code with respect to its memory analysis?
Yes, sir.
Are there any doubts? Okay, now we will write the statements of this particular user defined function. Let us declare a variable, temporary variable. Okay, now the interchanging of the values, how it takes place is, look at here. So temp equals to, now if you look into the previous blocks here, we have temp is equals to x, right? That is the first parameter. Now here first parameter is what? It is a pointer, that is p1. Now what I want to do? I want to retrieve the value of this particular pointer wherever it is being pointing, that is the value located at 1001. So value located at 1001 is what? 10. So I'm just going in a indirection operation, in a reverse direction. I want to access this 10. How? By using this particular memory address. So temp is equals to value located at P1 address. So value located at this particular address is what? P1 contains 1001 and asterisk P1 means the value located at 1000. What is that value? 10. So now 10 gets updated to temp. The next same way, we can write the statements as asterisk P1 equals to asterisk P2. And the third statement would be what? Asterisk P2 is equals to temp. Now, let us try to trace this code here. Now I'm going to trace the code. Okay. Now here, when this particular statement gets executed, what happens? Value pointed by this particular P1. So P1 contains 1001 and at 1001 we have the value as 10. So asterisk P1 will give me a 10 value and that 10 value will be updated where? It will be updated to the temp. So let me have a temp here. Say call it as 2005, and here I get 10 as the value. I get 10 as the value. Next statement, asterisk P1 is equals to asterisk P2. Now, first try to understand the right hand side. Asterisk P2. What this asterisk P2 is? Value pointed by this particular pointer to. So pointer to where it is pointing? It is pointing to 1003. So at 1003, what do we have value? 20. So now this particular 20 is getting updated where? Asterisk P1. So 20 is getting updated to asterisk P1. Again, this asterisk P1 means what? Value at 1001. Value at 1001 here. Now I get the value as 20. When this statement is getting executed, value here, instead of 10, it is getting modified as 20. Then the third statement, the value of temp is getting updated to asterisk P2. Then again, P2 is what? P2 is 1003. So 1003 means this is the memory location. At this memory location, what is the value? 20. So here, instead of 20, I'm assigning 10 here. So I get a 10 value. So at the end of these 4 lines execution, that is end of this particular user defined function was called, what has happened now? The values of the actual parameters got modified by the formal parameters, right? Do you think that these P1 and P2, which are formal parameters, are they modifying the values of actual parameters? That is A and B? Yes, indeed. Both those are modifying the values of A and B. So now if I execute the program and print the after swapping values, let's see what it will print. Edit some changes. Let's see if there are any errors, commenting errors or anything. Yes, there are certain commenting errors. Return type is int. Where is that? Okay, line number 38. Okay, these things. Let me comment these lines so that we can get rid of all the warnings or errors. What else we have? Here also I have something. Okay, compile again. Okay, all good. So there are no warnings, errors. Now execute. Now can you see the result here? Before swapping, A is 10 and 20. After swapping, A is 20 and B is 10. Now we could modify the values of actual parameters by modifying the formal parameters. This concept is called as pass by pointer. Sometimes we also call it as a pass by reference. Instead of passing the values, in this case, instead of here we were passing the values, but which did not modify the values of A and B. To achieve that, we passed the addresses of those values or those particular variables, right? By taking the formal parameters as the pointers, which helped us in swapping the values. And after swapping, we got the updated values in the main function. Is it understood, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 2 concepts here. For point of examination, you may get a question something like explain pass by pointers or pass by reference. Okay, so in that case, you need to write a definition of that, what a pass by reference is, pass by pointer or pass by reference is, and then you need to write this particular code. And you need to mention that the formal parameters, which are P1 and P2, are modifying the actual parameters A and B. Okay, and with this particular program and a small explanation of that particular program will give you the full marks. Understood? This is just one part of the relation between the pointers and the functions as passing pointer as a parameter to the function. right? If you looked into this program, what we had done, we are passing this particular parameters are what? They are the pointers. Okay, in the next class, we will study the other two things, that is returning a pointer from a function and pointer to a function. These two things we will look into it in the next class. Any doubts, students, so far? Any confusions? By next
No,
class,
sir.
I just want you to revise the user-defined functions, because that will help you in understanding this program also and the next classes programs as well. Revise the user-defined functions properly. Okay, now if you want to understand this one, you should be knowing the concept of the scope of the variables, which we have studied in your first semester. Okay, apply those things, revise those things, and then study once again this particular program. You will better understand. If you find any difficulties, okay, then in the next class I will explain it once again.